The population of Gotham City fears Batman. The Caped Crusader is even attacking police officers. Is the GCPD willing to risk innocent lives to capture the Dark Knight? Episode 4 of the first season of Batman, Caped Crusader is one of the best episodes of the season and is full of Easter eggs from the classic Batman comics. Join me for this detailed review to keep up with everything about this episode. Welcome to Comic Chronicles. The fourth episode is titled The Night of the Huntress, and it focuses on Gotham's police force against the Caped Crusader, showing how far the police are willing to go to catch a public enemy, while corruption is present within the GCPD itself. So, leave your bat like here on the video, your bat subscription, and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything involving the Batman universe in DC. In Gotham City, Batman is declared a public enemy by the mayor, who has ordered Commissioner Gordon to arrest the Dark Knight after photos of police officers being attacked by the Caped Crusader in the previous episode were leaked in the newspapers. This episode is fantastic and is filled with Easter eggs. Starting with the news broadcasts conveying public opinion about Batman. This is clearly an Easter egg to The Dark Knight Returns. Another curious detail is during the mayor's press conference, where we see a reporter very similar to Lois Lane from the classic animated series of Superman by the Fleischer brothers. She looks really much like Lois Lane from the 1940s animation, but it's very likely just an homage, rather than actually being the same Lois Lane, although it would be cool to see this crossover. The episode gives a lot of focus to Gotham's police, and here we see Bullock asking the commissioner for command of the task force alongside Detective Flass. But Gordon knows they are corrupt and tells Bullock that the one in charge of the operation is Detective Montoya, and everyone must follow the chain of command, especially him. Here we see that the comic Batman, Year One, was the biggest inspiration for this plot. The moment when the police officers are in a meeting laying out an action plan against Batman closely resembles what we see in the comics, except that in the comics, it is Jim Gordon commanding the operation, who was not yet the commissioner. Additionally, in this comic moment, we see Flass wearing a cervical collar after being attacked by Batman in a location involved in drug trafficking while Flass was taking bribes. Here in the animation, it's Bullock who has a cervical collar after being attacked by Batman in the previous episode, where Bullock and Flass were going to end Catwoman's life. Flass and Bullock are portrayed here in the animation just as they were in the comics. Bullock was initially corrupt but later underwent changes, ultimately siding with Jim Gordon. Flass only appeared in Batman, Year One, being the corrupt cop who works with Gordon. According to Bruce Timm, the producer of the series, Bullock is the muscle and Flass is the brains and the much more dangerous of the two. Just like in the comics, undercover officers start staging attempted robberies in East Side to attract the attention of the Bat, but Batman doesn't fall for it. At this moment, we see more Easter eggs about the comics involving the Batman universe. The duo of officers Romy and Driver came from the Gotham Central comic written by Ed Brubaker, who is also the writer of this episode and is an executive producer of the animation. The episode then follows with another attempt to capture Batman, staging a false car chase, but Batman easily passes them in his Batmobile, leading to news articles about the police's inability to capture the Caped Crusader. At one point, James Gordon sees Batman in the GCPD's meeting room to see what the police knows about him so far. Soon, the Bat escapes from the commissioner, and on the rooftop, we see a signal resembling the Bat signal. Could this be an indication that we will see the classic Bat signal in the next season? Back in the meeting room, Harleen Quinzel is analyzing Batman based on his actions, and on the board, several Easter eggs from the early Batman comics can be seen, including drawings and even the way Batman was referred to before. Additionally, Harleen mentions her college professor, Dr. Crane. Could this also be an indication that Scarecrow will appear in the series at some point? I think that's quite possible. Harleen stated that for the police to catch Batman, they'd have to use a costumed insane person, as that's the only way they would attract the Bat. In Year One, the mayor and the police end up blowing up an old building in the poor area of Gotham to send the SWAT team after Batman. In Caped Crusader, it's similar, however, the corrupt duo, Flass and Bullock, use the insane firebug as bait to set a building on fire, thus attracting Batman's attention to capture him. Barbara Gordon sees the two officers putting Firebug in the car and leaving the GCPD and soon goes to her father to tell him what she saw, and Gordon states that he did not order any prisoner transfer. The animation depicts Firebug as a pyromaniac, similar to Firefly. In the comics, Firebug doesn't have this fixation on fire, but it seems that in the animation, they blended the concepts of the two characters to create a unique character for the show. This isn't something new, as in BTAS, they blended the two clay faces to create the one for the animation. With Firebug's escape, the villain starts setting a building in East Side aflame, which is equivalent to the East End in the comics. Flash and Bullock put their plans into action when they see Batman arrive at the scene. They call in a squad that resembles the SWAT team to capture Firebug and Batman. Gordon and Montoya arrive on the scene in order that no one else enter the building, as it could collapse at any moment. Batman finds Firebug inside the building for only a brief moment, as the focus of the episode is to show the power of corruption in the city, which controls even the insane. Bullock and Flash end the life of Firebug while Batman is in the building searching for innocents to save from the fire. Gordon sees this and realizes that Batman is someone saving children amid the blaze, and this fire was caused by his own officers. This is when he starts to change his perception of Batman, just as it happens in Batman, Year One, where Batman even saves a cat, and Gordon sees the police as a corrupt and dangerous force for Gotham. In the end, Gordon was going to push the corrupt duo away from the GCPD, but the mayor orders that they remain in command and that the commissioner give them everything they need since the two have been deemed heroes by the newspapers. Another detail worth mentioning is the anachronism present in this animation. Although Caped Crusader is set in the 1940s, several elements that did not exist at the time have been added, such as the squad that Bullock and Flash call, which resembles the team from SWAT that we see in Batman, Year One, but in the 1940s, SWAT did not yet exist, it emerged in the 1960s. Additionally, the animation chose not to address the prejudices of the time, although they are present in subtle forms. According to Bruce Timm, there are some signs, possibly very subtle, that sexism, racism, and homophobia are still around, as they obviously are today, unfortunately. In Night of the Hunters, the mayor sarcastically suggests in the midst of his speech that Gordon was appointed commissioner purely for public relations purposes. And earlier in the same episode, when Bullock complains to Gordon about Montoya being in charge of the task force, do you really think the man will take orders from her? We can only imagine what the next word out of his mouth would have been if Gordon hadn't interrupted him, but I'm sure it would have been something very ugly. To know more about the Batman universe, I will leave in the description of this video some good comic recommendations about Batman, including Batman, Year One, which was heavily used as a basis for this episode. By using our affiliate links, you support our channel without paying anything extra. Thank you very much for all the support you give us. This was a grand episode that explored the police aspect very well and also showed a more human side of Batman, caring for innocents and saving the children from the fire. Without a doubt, one of the best episodes of this first season and one of my favorites. Now I want to know your opinion. Did you like this episode? What is your favorite episode of Batman, Caped Crusader? Write your thoughts in the comments. Leave a like on the video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you always stay updated on everything happening in DC. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video.